Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, where today, M6481, the artist formerly known as Dave, that's right, Dave's back, is going to be having a difficult game in his French Tier 9 premium tank, the Char Future 4. Well, I say it's a premium tank, technically it's treated as a premium tank, but this isn't a tank that you had to buy for gold in the premium shop or the armory. This tank could be purchased with expedition tokens from simply playing the Frontline or Steel Hunter events. So, what do you need to know about this tank? Well, it's not really your typical French autoloader, which tend to be close range hit and bun. Hit and bun? That's right, yeah. They sneak up on you unawares and pelt you with bakery products. I'll try that again. It's not really a close range hit and run ambusher in the way that a lot of the French autoloaders are. It's got a 4-shot autoloader, which has a very long reload, but more importantly, it has a very long intra-clip reload. In other words, the reload between each of the 4 shots is really too slow to make this tank effective at close range. I'm not going to say brawling because it doesn't really have any armor, but close range ambush work. Not in the way that other French autoloaders like the Batchat 25T can, where they just zoom in while you're distracted, empty their magazine into you while circling around, and then they're out of there before you even realise that you've been killed. You can see the slow-ass reload between these 4 shots in the magazine. Also, and I've got to be honest, Dave has committed a fairly serious misplay here. In a tank with armour like this, you definitely do not want to be sitting stationary on the front line in the first few minutes of a battle, waiting for your gun to reload so you can do 650 damage. Because that decision cost Dave nearly 1,000 health, a damaged gun, and a repair kit on cooldown. I think it was the first shot that hit him, nearly detonated his ammo rack, so he instantly used the repair kit to sort that problem out. And then, of course, immediately afterwards, his gun and his tracks got hit. He is in fact extremely lucky that his tracks didn't get blown off, because with his repair kit on cooldown, if that had happened, he would be a very dead Dave right now. But hey, lesson learned, right? Yeah, it doesn't look like it, does it? It's not that this is a bad gun. I mean, the autoloader does have good burst damage. But where it excels is at mid to long range, not dogfighting like this. It's got that terrible French accuracy on the move, which means unless you're at point blank range, you pretty much have to slow down to aim. Which is fine if you're only fighting one isolated enemy tank, but if there are any other enemies around, that's a death sentence. Or at the very least, you end up on, 609 health after the first 3 minutes of the match. The good thing about this gun, and there are good things about this gun, is it does have a very, very fast aiming time. It also has pretty good accuracy. All of the other gun handling stats are absolutely trash, of course, which is another reason why it's not so great at close range ambush work like other French autoloaders, but the fast aiming time and the good accuracy mean that this tank is actually pretty good. Do not stop. You're getting shot at. Why would you stop? He's getting out of there on 2 health. It's technically 1 more health than he needs, but that right there is why you do not charge up onto the front lines and start brawling in this tank, even if you are top tier. What this tank is very good at, with that good accuracy and fast aiming time, is mid to long range sniping. Something that most of the other French autoloaders are not good at because of their horribly long aiming time and bad gun reticle bloom when they move the turret. 2 things that this tank does not suffer from. I think Dave's finally learnt his lesson here, and he's going to try to hang back behind his teammates and just clean up some kills from here on in. I'll tell you something else I like about this machine, and this is common to most of the French lights and mediums. Watch this, where he goes airborne, taking this ridge at full speed. Yep, if you'd done that in a Cromwell on 2 health, you'd be dead. Hell, if you'd done that in a Cromwell on 100 health, you'd be dead. But the French tanks seem to get ridiculously good suspension. Check out the scores here, by the way. Dave's team are winning comfortably. They're 7 kills to 4. Ooh, hang on. 7 kills to 5. Ooh, hang on. 7 kills to 6. Don't worry, Dave can help with that. First, he's going to knock out the T-28 prototype. And here's where he activates his somebody else's problem field. Watch this comet. Remember, Dave's on 2 health. Puts 1 shot into the comet. The comet completely ignores him. Comet, you do know you're in a tank, right? You've got a turret that can turn and shoot while you're moving. David activated his somebody else's problem field generator. And he had become somebody else's problem. And that comet, arguably, is the tank that costs the enemy team the game. Minor spoiler alert there. Dave's going to win this one. Once again, Dave's team are 3 kills up. But that situation isn't going to last forever. Because while they're technically winning, they've got a bunch of low tiers fighting a bunch of high tiers in the town, and one of those has just died, narrowing the scores to a 2-kill difference. And the higher tier tanks on Dave's team, like the T-95 who's trying to push the cap, and Dave himself obviously, do not have an awful lot of health remaining. If you look at the minimap, you'll see that the T-20 is spotting enemies for the Challenger, and the Challenger is going to clean up one of the kills on the enemy Super Hellcat. But the other enemies in the town, well, there's a Yag Tiger there. And I'll take the Pepsi Challenge in a Yag Tiger against the Challenger, which the Yag Tiger has just killed, and a T-20 any day of the week. So the T-20 is the last surviving tank in the town, and he really should be trying to cut his losses and get the hell out of there. But he either didn't or couldn't, and so the Yag Tigers killed him as well. The T-95 has managed to nail the Su-152, who was trying to defend the cap, however, but not before the Su-152 managed to get a couple of reset shots off. Now the enemy team have an S-103, who is also getting some reset shots off. Now the team do have a Super Hellcat who's sitting on the road behind the S-103 overlooking the lake. And the team are yelling at him to get that S-103, but instead of doing that, and taking pressure off the Conway and the T-95 in the cap circle, he's taking sniping shots at targets on the other side of the lake, which is a big problem, because it means not only is the S-103 over there able to continue resetting, he's also able to continue spotting. And so Dave's trying to do what the Super Hellcat would have been able to do easily, but which Dave really struggles to do because there was not an awful lot of S-103 poking out above the top of the road there for him to shoot at. And the only thing the Super Hellcat really achieved there was to get noticed and killed by the Yag Tiger that he was bouncing shells off on the far side of the lake. Which means Dave's only surviving teammate is an extremely low health T-95 who is not going to beat that S-Tank's reload. He's dead. Dave is now the last tank left alive on the team against 3 enemies. The Yag Tiger, the Caliban and the S-103. 3 enemies who between them are responsible for the slaughter of 2/3 of Dave's team, and Dave only has 2 health remaining. Capping is out of the question. They're all between him and the cap. This is going to be tricky. He's going to have to start actually using this tank for what it was designed for. Mid to long range sniping. He's caught the Yag Tiger in the open and he catches him on the turn, putting that shot into his side armour. He did get spotted in return, however. So the Yag Tiger will now have turned around. Now there are some very conveniently placed trees around the right hand side of the rock here which provide excellent concealment, but that kind of works for the Yag Tiger too, so he's going to have to respot him. There are shots hammering the rock that he's hiding behind. The Yag Tiger did fire and miss. Dave gets very lucky there. He gets even more lucky when he sticks around waiting to finish off the Yag Tiger, and the Caliban keeps missing and putting shots into the rock. He's playing an awfully dangerous game here, but he has managed to nail the Yag Tiger. They all know exactly where he is, of course. Now would be a good time to put that famous French mobility to use. You still have 6 minutes of the game left. You don't have to hang around in the same spot with enemy tanks shooting through the bushes, because they only have to get lucky once. So, time to relocate. Well, I mean, I say going for the cap's out of the question. Going for the cap right now is out of the question, because there are definitely 2 enemy tanks between him and the cap, and they'll just see him and kill him as he crosses the open field. But if you can go undetected for long enough and make them start thinking, where the hell did he go to? He's not behind this rock anymore. Oh, it's been a minute now. Where did he go to? Then maybe he can draw them away from the cap circle, looking for him. But even that would be an extremely high-risk strategy, because he could easily run into them while they're looking for him. And even if he managed to get into the enemy cap undetected and start capping, he's just told them exactly where he is. There is no concealment in that cap circle, and the first one that comes around the corner only needs to hit him once to kill him. So that would be an extremely high risk and ultimately pointless strategy too. On the bright side, he has managed to go undetected for a good minute now, so he is keeping them guessing. And once again, the French suspension saves him from an extremely embarrassing death if he tried that in anything British. I mean, he's keeping them guessing, but they're keeping him guessing too. He doesn't know where they are now either. He must be sweating bullets at this point, because if he comes around a corner face to face with one of those two enemy tanks, maybe he'll get the first shot off. But he won't survive long enough to get the second shot off. Lady Luck has definitely been on his side in this match. In more ways than one. I mean, you know, obviously surviving this long on 2 health, but also not being ended by the Yag Tiger and the Caliban when he was spotted and poking out from behind the rock. But also remember the path that he took to get to this point. And no, he's not dumb enough to try to win by capping here. Wherever that S103 is, he could be anywhere on this map. It's easily fast enough to get back here and kill him if he tries to win by capping. So he's very carefully avoiding going into the cap circle in order to not announce his presence. Going back to the path that he took to get around here, circling all the way around the southern side of the map. Which made sense, because it kept him as far away as possible from the last reported positions of those two enemy tanks. But pay attention to the top of the screen. Any second now, they're going to get sick and tired, there it is, of trying to chase him around the map and find him. And so they're doing the smart thing, because now he has to come to them, and there's 2 of them, and if he gets spotted killing one, the other one gets him. The one advantage that he has is he's been undetected so long that they have no idea which end of the map he's going to come from. If he was to approach the cap from the north down the valley, it would be suicide, because they'd see him the second he sees them. And there's 2 of them. But it would still be wise for them to split their defence, one pointing this way and one pointing up the valley, because you can't count on the last surviving tank on the enemy team being sensible. And luckily for him, he's managed to get a cheeky spot on the Caliban without getting spotted in return. And Dave has finally calmed down and started using his head, using double concealment to fire on the Caliban and kill it without being spotted in return. Of course, the Caliban will be telling the S103 which direction the shots came from, and the S103 has also managed to get spotted without Dave being spotted in return. The 2 shots that Dave has remaining are not going to be enough to kill the S103 though, so he's forced to go for the reload. And the S103 is relocating. Dave does not have a lot of time left. It looks like the S103 headed up the valley rather than taking cover behind the dead Caliban. But he's definitely left the cap circle. Dave has now reloaded. He has one big advantage against the S103. He has a turret and it does not, and he's hoping to catch it in the rear. But the S103 has turned around. Dave fluffs his first shot. Fortunately, because the S103 is in mobility mode and not siege mode, it basically couldn't hit the side of a barn from the inside. But it only needs to get him once. The S103 is now in siege mode, which makes it laser accurate but slows it down. Now Dave can use his mobility. Oh, the 4th shot bounces. He's on the reload. The S103 misses. Run, Dave. Run for your life. The S103 is still in siege mode, so it can't swing the gun around quickly to point at him. It looks like he might be switching into mobility mode. It's difficult to tell. Oh, this is just... The S103 could ram him and kill him at this point. But he still keeps trying to lumber that gun around, which gives Dave the time that he needs to reload. He gets the shot. Wow. Bloody hell, Dave. You don't believe in doing things the easy way, do you? Right, so yeah, I think I need to sit down after watching that one. Pretty sure Dave did too. I think we can all agree that Dave definitely had more than his fair share of luck in that battle, but hey, sometimes luck is all you need. And if you're anything like me, I'll bet there were more than a few of you yelling at your computer monitor, "My God, what are you doing? No! Oh, I can't believe you got away with that." But hey, that's what makes for an entertaining video. Shout out, of course, to the turtle on the team, who, despite doing less damage and getting no kills, actually beat Dave on experience earned. But that's the way World of Tanks works. If you're not top tier and you still do well, you're rewarded more for the damage that you have actually done. And of course, commiserations to the S-103 and the Jagdtiger on the enemy team, who both played great games, but, well, they just didn't have Dave's luck, did they? Either way, congratulations, Dave. And I hope everybody enjoyed it, because that is it for today. As always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.